Hi, we just bounced back from the US presidential debate between Kamala Harris and Donald J. Trump. My takeaway, I thought the debate was really good and they put Trump on the spot about his credentials. He kept repeating the same things without giving any consultation. But what struck me is the way he talked about, he has been talking about going to Wharton School of Finance. And it struck me, and I would want you to watch this clip where I think it was like Kamala Harris baited her to talk about that. What?
Donald Trump has no plan for you. And when you look at his economic plan, it's all about tax breaks for the richest people. I am offering what I describe as an opportunity economy, and the best economists in our country, if not the world, have reviewed our relative plans for the future of America. What Goldman Sachs has said is that Donald Trump's plan would make the economy worse, mine would strengthen the economy. What the Wharton School has said is Donald Trump's plan would actually explode the deficit. 16 Nobel laureates have described his economic plan as something that would increase inflation and by the middle of next year would invite a recession. You just have to look at where we are and where we stand on the issues. And I'd invite you to know that Donald Trump actually has no plan for you because he is more interested in defending himself than he is in looking out for you.
That's just a soundbite. They gave her that to say. Look, I went to the Wharton School of Finance, and many of those professors, the top professors, think my plan is a brilliant plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan that's going to bring up our worth, our value as a country. It's going to make people want to be able to go and work and create jobs and create a lot of good, solid money for our country. And just to finish off, she doesn't have a plan. She copied Biden's plan, and it's
Now, Trump accepted. He went to Wharton School of Finance, and he has been bragging about it. But he's not qualifying that to what. So, what Kamala did, Kamala just baited her to talk about him to talk about being going to Wharton School of Business. Let me tell you about what Wharton School of Business is in the University of Pennsylvania, and it boasts as one of the best business schools in the world. That's according to their website. It's the world's first business school. That is Wharton. Going to Wharton is an honor. Of course, I might be talking from a different time because Wharton in 1964, when Trump went there, it could have not been an Ivy school because admission rate was around 40%, whereas today to go there is admission rate is 7%. It might have said, but then even that time it was still the best school before they started classifying. And this is something Trump has always been saying about Wharton School of Management. He has talked about Wharton School of Management for a long time. And if you can listen to that.
But I'm proud of her. Hey, I went to the Wharton School of Finance. I was a really good student.
I went to an Ivy League college. I was a nice student. I did very well. I'm a very intelligent person.
Everybody knows what a great school it is. Look, if I were a liberal Democrat, people would say I'm the super genius of all time.
No, they wouldn't. Donald Trump, in his typically modest fashion.
Now, that is Trump trying to explain that he went to Wharton School Management and he was a smart kid. That's what he's trying to portray. that he went to an Ivy school. But you can't say he was smart. In the first place, he was not admitted from high school to say that he had good grades. He had to go to Fordham University in Bronx. Then after 2 years, that's when he transferred. And one of the professors, one of the administration representative in Wharton School of Management said probably there was an influence from his family because they were rich. They might have donated some money there. That's how he went through the back door. Because he didn't go there from high school. What he's claiming that he must have been a genius. That is not very true. He might be overrating himself about his going to Wharton School of Management. So, in essence, if you can hear what the guy continued to say.
Bragging in no shortage of degree about how smart he is and also his educational bona fides. But the Washington Post, they did a deep dive into his academic career, and it is not nearly as impressive as Trump would make it sound. The Post, they spoke to an admissions officer who was there at the time named James Nolan. He says the acceptance rate in 1966 was at 50%, and it was even higher for transfers like Donald Trump, who went to Fordham first. Nolan also told the Post he was not impressed with Trump's intellect. Quote, I certainly was not struck by any sense that I'm sitting before a genius, certainly not a super genius. Nolan also said, quote, it was not very difficult to get into Wharton at that time. The article also points out that Trump was not one of the top honorees at graduation, and he wasn't even on the dean's list. Plus, Trump is, of course, refusing to release his transcripts. This classic Trump won't show his transcript, but he said this tweet in 2012 asking to see President Obama's academic records, saying, quote, isn't it time that Obama releases college records and applications? Boy, would that create a mess. He's not who you think.
How does a bad student then go to Columbia and then go to Harvard? How does this happen?
Well, my next guest wrote the piece that we've been talking about, Michael Kranish. He is National Political Investigative Reporter.
Investigation. Well, Donald Trump has said for years that
You can listen to all that he's talking about. And now you can hear what himself was saying, that he went to Wharton School of Management, but the same university, even professors don't agree with his plan. That's it. And that's very true. Immediately after Trump became president, one of the renowned professors from Wharton had this to say about the economy and how the world looks at the United States.
And how does somebody like Trump affect America's brand?
So a lot of where a country gets its image is from its overall long-term reputation and the products that come from there, but also some of the people that come from there. And the political leaders definitely have an impact. And so the image of Trump carries over to the U.S. and directly affects the U.S. brand. So what I've observed is when I first did the study 2 years ago, and I did it together with U.S. News and WPP. When I first did this study, the U.S. was ranked as the 4th best brand. I next measured it immediately after the election. We fell to number 7, and we've now fallen to number 8 in the world. So this whole notion of make America great again, it should be the number 1 brand. We're now in the number 8 position, not the number 1 position.
And there will be...
Now, that is the professor, a renowned professor from Wharton School of Finance, where purportedly Trump went. And, the reason why I say, does he have a fake degree from Wharton School of Business? Because I have never heard Trump talk like an economist. A man who has a bachelor's degree, a bachelor's of science degree of economics. I never went to an economic school or business school, but at least that fundamental economics you do, which is a requirement for any degree, has enough for me to say something better than this
Four
guy
cent-
said. If you can listen to what it was referring
That's
to.
out
So,
there. I haven't read it. I don't want to read it purposely. I'm not going to read it. This was a group of people that got together. They came up with some ideas. I guess some good, some bad, but it makes no difference. I have nothing to do. Everybody knows I'm an open book. Everybody knows what I'm going to do. Cut taxes very substantially and create a great economy like I did before. We had the greatest economy. We got hit with a pandemic. And the pandemic was not since 1917, where 100 million people died, has there been anything like it. We did a phenomenal job with the pandemic. We handed them over a country where the economy and where the stock market was higher than it was before the pandemic came in. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. We made ventilators for the entire world. We got gowns, we got masks, we did things that nobody thought possible. And people give me credit for rebuilding the military. They give me credit for a lot of things, but not enough credit for the great job we did with the pandemic. But the only jobs they got were bounce back jobs. These were jobs bounce back, and it bounced back and it went to their benefit. But I was the one that created them. They know it, and so does everybody else.
Vice President Harris, I'll let you respond.
So
now, that is a question you were supposed to answer about economics. And it's only talking like a common sense, that common sense language. When you talk about the economy, that you left a good economy, that you left inflation, you throw things up. I expected a person who's an economist to give us numbers. Economists are good at giving numbers, giving us graphs to understand where we were. I would have wanted him to explain that when I got to the economy, it was like this. Then I did this, and this is why it improved. He has not said anything about that. Yes, maybe during that time, the inflation was high or what. But this is what I expected from a man who went to Wharton School of Business to say. Talk about inflation. You don't just drop like any other person. Give us a graph. This is the chart showing annual inflation rate from 2014 to 2024, a 10-year period. 2014, this was Obama's time. Inflation rate was 0.8. It went up. By the time it's coming to office, 2016, it was 2.1. See? For him coming to office, went 2.1. So it went up. I'm not saying. So it was up. By 2020, it was at 1.4. 2021, it jumped to 7. 2022, it was 6.5. Then 2023 came down to 3.4. And 2024, it is 2.9. Then, as a good economist he is, he needs to tell us why in 2022, it jumped all of a sudden in 2021 to 7. There must be something. As an economist who went to business school, you would say it is abnormal for the curve to just rise like that. This was because in 2020, the pandemic came, everything crossed down. There were no ships going around, nothing. We were in lockdown for most of 2020. What happened? The supply chain was broken. Things which were supposed to come from China, Indonesia, they were not coming in. So we were at a scarcity of things. And then at the same time, people were not working. But at that time, people were given free money, like to keep the jobs going. They had a lot of money, but they didn't have anything to do. What were they to do? Shopping. So when they were going to the shops, what was happening? There were no products because the ships have not arrived. There was a backlog of supply chain. Instead of giving a credit that the when Biden came in, that was the situation. They had to work hard, and they have worked hard. By now, Biden has brought it down from 7% to 2.9. That's what I expected him to say. What did he do? Okay, he came in. What did he do? He got, when he, in 2016, came in, the inflation rate was very slow. So that is what I expected him as an economist to say, but he didn't say anything. I expected him to explain us about, does he know about the Phillips curve? The Phillips curve shows an inverse relationship between inflation and unemployment. So if unemployment is low, inflation will be up because if most of the people are employed. So whatever you are saying about mortgage rates, so even when you look at our unemployment rate now, if you look at unemployment rate in the United States from 1990, it has all been fluctuating. But as an economist, I expected him to explain why. The rate was decreasing from 2010. 2019, it was coming down. It was coming down. So this was Obama's policies. He only came into office. Trump came into office. He never did anything. He found the unemployment rate coming down. And he watched it. He enjoyed it coming down. He didn't do anything, as he's claiming. It only shot up, unemployment went up when people lost jobs because of the pandemic. And the Biden administration has been doing a great job. Now unemployment rate is down here. He has nothing to explain about it. So when you are talking about a great economy, what did you do? It is very disappointing when you talk about going to Wharton School, when Trump talks about going to Wharton School Management, and yet what he's talking about does not matter. So Trump should not run saying that he did anything. He does not even understand. I wonder, he must be having a fake degree. Yet I stand to be corrected, but I feel strongly that he does not have any iota of how economics work. You just throw things up there. You say during your time, gas was cheap. How does gas become cheap? Gas, we don't have any control. Crude oil is controlling the world market. It is simply supply and demand. It goes up, goes down. Why should you take credit for it? You don't have control of what is happening in the world. Crude oil prices trends. This petroleum and other liquids have, you can see they go up and we have nothing to do. Okay, we can do like the US intervened to increase up, but we have nothing to do. He was saying that he got the interest rates, mortgage interest rates were lower. It is the Federal Reserve which does that. Mortgage interest rates have been going down. And for inflation, for them to fight inflation, they have to increase interest rate. And that's what they did. So really, Trump, I can say, as a fake degree from Wharton. If it is not fake, why has he threatened Wharton School of Business to release his academic records? He said he will sue them. That is what he has said. Listen, what this guy had to say.
That he is the top student at Wharton. He said he's heard he's the top student at Wharton. Whenever people have questioned his intellect, he's referred to getting a degree at Wharton, said it was the hardest school to get into. So essentially, I wanted to see if that was true and find out what exactly happened in getting into Wharton.
I know that an admissions officer at Wharton that you spoke with said he certainly didn't think that Trump was a genius, but he also knew the Wharton's acceptance rate was, at the time, was over 40% of the applicants who applied got in. I'm wondering if the implication in this piece is that Trump might not have gotten in without help, or that his acceptance by Wharton should be taken should not be taken as proof that he's as intelligent and as good a student as he claimed.
Right. Well, by Trump saying it was the hardest school to get into, I wanted to see if that was true. It is not the hardest school to get into. When we think of Wharton today, you might think of the graduate school. This was the undergraduate school of finance at the University of Pennsylvania. So also today, to get into University of Pennsylvania, the acceptance rate is 7.4%. It's an Ivy League school. It is very hard to get into. At the time Trump went to University of Pennsylvania in 1966, the acceptance rate was more than 50%. It was not that difficult to get into by any stretch, certainly compared to today. And he was a transfer student. He'd already done 2 years at Fordham in the Bronx.
So you can see, you can tell that he wasn't, and even most of the students there, they don't have. So clearly, that's my take on the economy. He cannot claim he doesn't have any plan for the economy. He talks a street language, a common sense language. He doesn't talk like an economist, and that casts a doubt on a person who's an economist giving wrong information. I thought that's why he has threatened the Wharton School to release his records. He did not